You may already know that I absolutely love Star Wars, but what I do not love are spoilers. So even though I really want to talk about the new Star Wars Rise of Skywalker movie, we will not be doing that today. I will save that for another day. Instead, today on the DnDaily vlog, I thought I would do something that might even be more fun. Today, I'm gonna build a character, a D&D character, using a Star Wars personality, and that's right folks, we're gonna build Luke Skywalker, and guess what? In my mind and for this exercise, Luke Skywalker is a rogue. That's right, a rogue. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Gregory, how could you possibly say that Luke Skywalker is a rogue? Good old farm boy Luke Skywalker, he couldn't possibly be a rogue. Well, hang on, slow down, hear me out. First and foremost, I just thought this would be a really fun exercise and give you some ideas of how I approach building D&D characters and some thoughts about, how you can use your inspirations, your heroes and so forth to make some really cool Dungeons & Dragons characters. So that's what I'm going to do today, share my thoughts and share my process, or at least a little bit of it, as I build a character. And I'm going to use Luke Skywalker as my sort of template, right? And okay, why rogue? Well, that's a very valid question. Why would you say Luke Skywalker is a rogue? Well, first and foremost, before I get into anything else about like what I think his skills are, why they lend themselves to rogue and so forth, let's look at one really basic fact. Okay, if you're a Star Wars nut like me, you know that Luke Skywalker created an elite wing of X-Wing fighters, an elite cadre of fighters. And what did he call those fighters? Rogue Squadron. All right, Rogue Squadron. Okay, then I thought that might be just a little bit of a coincidence, or maybe you're thinking like, that's not a good reason to make him a rogue. And you'd be right. That's not a good reason to make him rogue. I just think it's kind of funny that, in fact, Rogue Squadron represent, right? So now check this out. Let's get a little more down to earth and realistic about this silly fantasy game. God, off the rails today, my friends, off the rails. All right, here we go. I think that Luke Skywalker would be a rogue because of this. Okay, first and foremost, he's a farm boy, right? So I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit. I wouldn't always do this, but I think in this case it makes sense. So I know going into this that his background is going to be one of two things. Either he's gonna be a folk hero, which is kind of cool, that sort of works, or I feel like he might be more like maybe like an Outlander, okay? An Outlander would probably be pretty cool because he lives on Tatooine, which is the edge of the Empire, it's the middle of nowhere. He lives on a moisture farm. He knows the hills and he knows the desert and he knows the area and he can survive out there and so forth. So I'm kind of thinking an Outlander would be pretty cool depending on, which of the specifics you give to him. So that's sort of, I already have that in mind, even though that's not normally how I approach building a character. Usually I will think ahead of like, okay, what's this character gonna be? Do I want to make a fighter? Do I want to make a wizard or a sorcerer and so forth? But if I start from a different perspective, let's say I don't know who, I have no idea what kind of character I should make for this upcoming one-shot or campaign or what have you. Well, then I can come back and I can say, well, what if I use a template? And in this case, Luke Skywalker is the template. What is Luke Skywalker? What are some of his traits? What's his personality? What are his skills? How do we see him? And I just can't help thinking that he is a character that has a pretty broad skill set, right? He is okay in a fight. He's certainly not like the best fighter there is. He is okay in his knowledge, but he's definitely not the most intelligent guy around. He's kind of new and, he's the young kid, right? So he's plucky, he's adventurous, so he fits into being an adventurer, right? But check this out. Let's look at a couple things that's maybe a little more deep. One of the things that he does in the first episode 4, in the first time we meet Luke Skywalker in the original release sequence. In episode 4, we meet Luke, and Luke he's sort of, he's crafty. That's what he's crafty, right? He's got already some basic skills. He knows how to fix stuff, he knows how to build stuff. He's pretty good with his hands. Okay, he's sort of a tinkerer of sorts. Okay, locksmithing, lock picking, rather. He pops the lock, quote unquote, off of his droid R2, right? The restraining bolt. Okay, yeah, that's a stretch. Okay, fine. All right, that's a stretch. Let's go a little further. He's pretty good with a disguise, right? I mean, he dresses up as a stormtrooper in order to trick the Imperials and allow himself, and he convinces Han to do the same thing so that they can go and save the princess. Okay, so he's got some skills with his hands. He is adventurous. He's pretty good with a disguise. All right, what else? Well, once they rescue Leia, he's swinging through the air on his grappling hook. I mean, my goodness, this is definitely leading me to believe that this boy, this kid, this young man, let's even call him, he could hold his own, and he's got a very broad skill set. You know, he's okay in a pilot, he's okay piloting a ship. He, has a sense of what, how to follow his instincts, I guess. He's just got this ability that he can fit into any walk of life. That's how it seems to me, right? He goes into bars. He almost gets into a fight, but Ben helps him avoid it and that such. So it's like he learns quickly, which is cool. He does learn how to fight with a sword, a lightsaber. We could make that a rapier. He's also okay with a blaster, decent. Of course, he gets trained by Ben to be better with the lightsaber, but he uses a blaster fairly decently in A New Hope. And so we could think of that maybe as like a hand crossbow or a light crossbow. I mean, the kid's got skills, right? And then he goes on to develop his skills and powers with the Force. So like maybe he's an arcane trickster, he gets mage hand and that sort of thing, so I absolutely feel like if I want to make, I had no idea, let's just pretend, I had no idea what kind of character I was going to make, but I said, why not use Luke Skywalker for my inspiration? And now Luke Skywalker is sort of fading into the background, and now the character I'm building is coming into the fore. I'm making a character. It's going to be a farm boy of some kind. His parents were killed. He had no reason to stay home. He decided he was going to become an adventurer. And secret backstory that I could hand to the DM, I've got a twin sister that I don't know about. Not only that, my father turned into a villain, even though he's really a good guy. I mean, this is how some of the best characters get created in Dungeons & Dragons, believe it or not. We have these ideas in our minds, these heroes or heroines from our childhood and so forth, and then we turn them into our own character. So my thought is, I'm gonna make a trickster rogue. Cool, done. I'm going to make sure that he dips fairly heavily into the magic. I might even give him some feats. I might even multi-class at some point to give him more ability as a user of the mystical arts. So I'd probably give him a fairly high wisdom and a fairly high intelligence and a great dexterity. That's probably it. Charisma, yeah, maybe. He's kind of charming, but not so much. Usually it's everybody else around him that's doing all the charming and fast talking and so forth, right? Han is definitely more charming than Luke. Even Obi-Wan Kenobi is more charming than Luke. So I think Luke would have a relatively low charisma. Strength would probably be kind of average. Maybe Constitution is his dump stat. I mean, he gets taken out by that Wampa pretty hard. He recovers, but, maybe he's not the most hardy of individuals. It just so happens that he's strong in the Force and he's got, a reason to stay alive, and that's why he does. So there you go. So now I know Dex is going to be his high score, then intelligence, then wisdom, And then beyond that, maybe strength, charisma, and ending with constitution. That's a really fun way to build a character. Now I'm gonna start thinking, I already said, okay, well, lightsaber, that's gonna be rapier to me. I could go short sword, but I don't think, that doesn't feel right. A rapier has a sense of like, you have to be slightly skilled, I think, more so to fight well with a rapier. It has a more delicate touch. Short sword is the same thing, but short sword is just like, it's a pointy stick, y'all. It's just stabby stabby, right? That you have to know where to put it, but I feel like it doesn't have the same kind of level of finesse that a rapier has. That's just my personal opinion. And then beyond that, I think it'd be super cool if you had a hand crossbow. Light crossbow would work, but hand crossbow feels cooler for this character we're building. And then he's definitely got to have some of those, you know, extra accessories for the skill set. For sure, grappling hook, maybe a crowbar. For sure, he's going to have ball bearings, and he's definitely, come on, let's go back to grappling hook. He has to have a grappling hook, right? So yeah, I mean, these are the kind of things that I think make character development fun. I might do this a couple times. In fact, I feel like it'd be really cool to look at Han Solo. I could also do any of the characters. So if you have one that you'd love to see me develop, that would be fun. Now, I want to end with this one thought though. Well, why rogue, okay? Come on, Luke, maybe he should have been an Eldritch Knight. He's a Jedi, he becomes a Jedi Master. Okay, I accept that. Maybe for you, Eldritch Knight makes more sense. Maybe you want to go the other direction and make him a wizard that becomes a swordsman or something. There's a million ways you could do it. Maybe it's multi-class from go. You know, from the very beginning, you know it's going to be multi-class. But now, coming from a place of like, oh, help, I don't know what my character is going to be, now we have a really good sense of what their personality's like. We can start developing their flaws, their bonds, their personality traits, etc. Like, so now we have this sense, their ideals, right? We have this fully fleshed out character for Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, it's based on one of our, pop heroes or pop, superstars or whatever you want to call it, but that's okay. I have a friend who did this with Iron Man and Batman. That's so cool, that's fun, that's inspiration. Whatever it is, wherever you go for your inspiration, it's okay. I think it's great. I give you permission. If you've got a character you developed that you used some kind of inspiration from pop culture, I would love to know about that. Tell me all about it in the comments. Of course, spend some time watching this video next. I'll see you at a table someday. Keep rolling 20s. Hey, no spoilers in the comments. And remember, it's your game. Play your way.